This video shows how to assemble our book box. It is a full assembly video, showing all steps. The cut files are available to download for free, on our website, freelaserfiles.com. This is a glue-together model and it will be assembled using wood glue from a small squeeze bottle. The one shown is made entirely of 3mm medium-density fiberboard, MDF. However, you could use any suitable 3mm or 1/8 inch thick material. The model shown will not be stained or painted. This model is not scalable, as altering the file would change the dimensions of the joints. Several rubber bands and spring clamps are used to hold some of the parts while the glue dries. The model in this video is cut on an Atezr P20 Plus, 20-watt diode laser with the air assist turned on. The joints of this model are drawn with no kerf compensation. The tabs which are drawn at 0.25 inch, will fit into slots which are drawn at 0.25 inch. The tolerance of the joints will be the kerf size of your machine. To start your build you will need 2 of part number 1, and 2 of part number 2. Apply glue to the back of part number 2. Position this in the guideline on part number 1. You can clean out any excess glue with a small brush. These can be set aside to dry. Next you will need one each of parts numbers 3, 4, 5, and 6. And 8 of part number 25. Apply glue to the back of parts number 25. And align them into the guidelines of each piece. Now you can put the detail pieces onto the side panels. You need 2 each of parts number 8 and 24. As on the previous parts, add glue to the detail pieces, and align them onto the panels. The next part to assemble is the latch knob. You will need parts numbers 26 and 27, and a small disc number 31. Apply glue as shown. And slide the parts into place. Make sure to remove any excess glue as this could affect the knob turning. The next parts to assemble are numbers 6, the front panel you already glued, and numbers 19 and 20. Check that you have the correct parts ready for the slots. These cannot be assembled wrong. The parts will only go into the correct slots, in the correct orientation. Apply glue to the tabs and back of the parts. Next you will need 3 of part number 17, 4 of 18, 2 each of 21 and 22, number 23, and 13 small discs, numbers 31. These parts will assemble into the latch plate hinge. Apply glue to one small end of the hinge pin, number 23, and put discs 21 and 22 into place. Apply a small amount of glue to the pin and disc number 21, and slide one disc number 31 onto the pin. Brush away any excess glue. These parts should be left to dry for a few minutes until the glue starts to set. The disc edges will be coated in paste wax to lubricate them. It is not essential to apply lubrication, it just gives a smoother operation. If you don't have paste wax, any suitable lubrication, such as candle wax, can be used. Add the remaining 12 small discs to the pin and lubricate them. Avoid getting lubrication onto the small end of the hinge pin where the final discs will be glued. Slide parts numbers 17 and 18 into place. starting with a part number 18, and then alternating 17, then 18, until they are all in place. The spacing of these parts is not important at this point, they will be aligned with other parts later in the build. Glue the final discs into place on the pin. You can now attach the latch knob to the latch plate. You need the knob you assembled earlier and parts numbers 16 and 28. Being careful not to get wax on the end, which will be glued into the disc, apply a small amount of paste wax to the back of the knob and around the small disc. Put this in place and turn it a few times to lubricate the parts. Now use a very small amount of glue to secure the larger disc in place. The next step is to prepare the 6 hinge pins for assembly. You need 6 discs number 32, and the 6 hinge pins, number 33. Glue a disc onto each pin and set them aside to dry. Next, you will start to construct the box, starting with the top. You will need parts number 9, 10, and 12, and the 2 parts number 14. Use several rubber bands to hold the joints securely, once they are glued. You will need something to space the model from your work surface, while you assemble it. 2 pieces of wood were used for this build. Take note that the front piece will only fit to the front of the panel. This is to ensure that the long tabs are in the correct location. This will become important later in the build. All the pieces should be placed face down when applying the glue. This means that the part numbers or details should be down on your work surface. Use the spacers to keep the long tabs off the work surface. Ensure that your joints are tightly together. Now repeat this step with the box bottom using parts number 9, 10, and 13, and the two parts number 15 which you glued earlier. Again, the front will only fit to the front of the panel. And all part numbers and details should be down to the work surface while applying the glue. Next you will need 12 of part number 29, 9 of part 30, 21 small discs, number 31, 3 large discs, number 32, and the 3 hinge pins, parts 33, which you glued earlier. These parts will also be lubricated with paste wax. Slide 7 small discs onto one of the hinge pins. Coat the discs with wax. Being careful not to get wax on the small end, which will be glued into a large disc. Slide a part number 29 onto the discs, followed by a part number 30. Repeat this until you have 4 of part number 29 and 3 of part number 30 in place. Now glue a large disc onto the hinge pin. Set this aside to dry and repeat the procedure with the remaining parts. The latch hinge and the latch plate, both of which you assembled earlier, can now be assembled. Start by dry fitting the hinge tabs into the plate slots to check the alignment. Apply glue to the tabs as shown. And insert them into the slots. This can be clamped and left to dry. Next you will need the 3 hinge assemblies which you glued earlier. 12 of part 29. 21 small discs, number 31. 3 large discs, number 32. And the remaining 3 hinge pins. Put 7 small discs onto each of the hinge pin, and lubricate them. Slide one part 29 onto the pin, then insert the pin into the hinge assembly. Don't put this fully onto the pin. Only insert the pin enough to hold the next part number 29. Repeat this until you have the pin fully into the hinge assembly with alternating parts 29. When they are all in place, glue a large disc onto the pin. Repeat this with the remaining parts, until you have 3 complete hinge assemblies. The box top and bottom panels can now be glued into place. The panels are the same, so will fit on the top or bottom. The large tabs on the top and bottom are slightly different sizes, and will only allow the panels to fit in the correct orientation. Having the panels in the correct orientation is important, because it puts the tabs which hold the corner detail in the correct location. Apply glue to the panel. Press the panel into place. These can be held with rubber bands. When the glue is dry on the top and bottom panels, and the rubber bands have been removed, you can attach the back trim panel, number 3, the front trim panel, number 5, and the 2 side panels, number 7. Apply glue as shown, and clamp the parts in place. Ensure that all the joints are fully engaged. Repeat this assembly on the box bottom using parts number 4, 6, and the two number 8. When the glue is dry on the box top, you can attach the latch. Align the 4 tabs on the latch. And dry fit them into the slots on the front of the box to check that everything fits correctly. Put 2 rubber bands around the box top. These will be used to hold the latch in place while the glue dries. Put some glue into the slots. Apply glue to the tabs on the latch. Put the latch in place. And secure it with the rubber bands. The corner detail pieces can now be put in place. You will need 4 of parts number 34, 4 of parts number 35, and 4 of 36. The top corners fit onto the top corner tabs. Make sure the score line faces up. Turn the corner over and apply glue. With the corner in place, the rounded end of the tab will protrude slightly. These rounded ends are small feet for the box to stand on. Next, fit the front corner onto the two tabs. The side corner fits next, onto the single tab. When all the corners are in place, they will be held with rubber bands and clamps. Clamp these pieces temporarily until everything is in place and aligned. Add rubber bands to hold the pieces. Check that everything is aligned and add the clamps. Repeat this assembly with the box top pieces. With the front corners in place, and the glue dry, you can move on to attaching the rear corners. You will need 4, each of part numbers 36 and 37. There are no back corner trim pieces. Apply glue, and align the corners onto the tabs. Hold these in place with rubber bands until the glue dries. The 3 hinge assemblies can now be attached to the box bottom. These will be held with 6 rubber bands until the glue dries. Put the rubber bands over the box as shown, one at each side of the hinge attachment slots. Orientate the hinge tabs and apply glue. Put some glue into the bottom of the slots. Align the tabs, and put the hinge in place. Excess glue should be brushed away, and the rubber bands can be put over the hinge pin discs to hold the hinge in place. The final stage of assembling your box is to attach the hinges to the box top. Put the two halves of the box together and close the latch. With the box on the spacers, again, put 6 rubber bands in place, ready to hold the hinges. Glue the hinges into the slots and hold them with the rubber bands. Your box is now complete and should be left until all the glue is fully cured. We hope you enjoyed assembling this model, and that you will consider subscribing to our YouTube channel, to enable us to keep uploading free laser files.